Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 450. It's a quadra-sesquicentennial.
That's not a word. You're all right. Let's see it. All right,
Wikipedia actually said it's just a sesquicentennial when it's a 100
50?
plus 50 something. So,
Right.
And then quadra is 4. So I kind of added that on because this is essentially year 9 now. We're officially in year 9 of
right.
A few. I am Todd Oxtra, one of the founding fathers, joined by Charlie Carden, one of the founding fathers of Secret Friends Unite.
There are no other founding fathers. Well, John technically, but he's not a founding father.
Of the name,
opus.
but not the podcast. Correct.
Right.
Yeah,
yes.
Of the Facebook page. Yep.
The lawyers have said we're free and clear.
Exactly. John renounced all of his rights to the name. Yes.
He signed his rights away. But yeah, man. So we're actually recording on a Monday night because we had a rip-roaring weekend at Grand Rapids Comic-Con. You've heard me talking about it for a couple of weeks, but the charity auction we had really exceeded all expectations. Almost $1,000 that night. Another $700 from the booth selling the Tribble, so almost $1,800 raised for Make-A-Wish in Michigan. But both April and I said we're kind of getting old for this stuff. We were so wrecked on Friday night, so wrecked on Saturday.
You sound a little under the weather. The Concorde is a thing still. Yeah,
I've been. I was sucking on vitamin C drops all weekend, and I have the throat lozenge now. And April's in Chicago for work. I drive her to the airport today. I'm back on the road tomorrow, so there is no time for Concorde. I'm using my mental abilities to fight it off. But yes, a lot of people breathing your oxygen is not
just
conducive
close to,
today,
you're just close and personal, and you're a hugger, Charlie. So I'm sure you did not. There's no one that didn't get hugged by you.
I did not, and there are plenty of weirdos there. I saved my huggos for non-weirdos. It's not my scene.
Are you a weirdo?
Yes, are you a weirdo? Show me your weirdo card. Oh, but you know who's not weirdos, and we have two groups of people we're going to talk about here that we have a lot of respect for. You know, we're right in what some people are saying could be the final winding stages of the SAG-AFTRA strike. We're at day 113, but nothing is for certain. I've seen a lot of mean tweets or X's, if you prefer, and I'm sure it's the same on Threads and other social media. But there's a vibe that they're getting closer, but we'll see. Anyway, entertainmentcommunity.org is a great place to contribute if you can to help out those folks in the struggle for their livelihood. And there is no struggle for our livelihood because we have a great set of folks who support us with our Patreon. Todd, tell me all about it.
Yes, let's save your voice, Charlie, because it's a very precious thing. You've got to talk to clients. So we've got our friends with benefits. Corey and HD, John Sedorf, the Phoenix Sisters cosplay, Brendan Myers, thank you so much. And our BFFs, that is Sean, Stella, Henry Nias, Missy Merchant, and Andy Milliken. Thank you so much for being awesome and supporting our show. If you are not a Patreon now, you can be just like a Patreon. You can sign up for a 1-week trial.
You can be one later or now. And then continue to be one. Yeah.
Exactly. Lots of good content going up. We've got a spinner rack going up Friday, which is actually going to bleed into one of our stories today. So check that out. That was a Patreon request, actually, to do that specific comic. Yep. And so we're always looking for suggestions. So that's one of the things you get as being a patron. You get in our Discord. You get to vote on topics. You get to tell us what your thoughts are. And
you get to steer the airplane or boat or some kind of pleasure craft. I don't know. But anyway.
It's like a cheerocracy.
It's a cheerocracy. And as always, that is patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. Free 1-week trial of any of our tiers. They'll get to listen to our great shows. So something that is potentially not so great. It's so funny to look back there on a lens of something that is approaching the century mark, over 75 years old. This would be the January 1944 issue number 50 for the price of 10 cents from Fawcett Publication of Whiz Comics. starring Captain Marvel and the Spy Smasher. Todd, we've got a little bit of, I don't know about you, but if I ever found myself, naked as a jaybird, I don't feel like I'd conveniently find a barrel that could, wrap around your midsection, because how's he keeping it up? Is he kind of balancing it on his knees in this photograph here?
Kind of, yeah. We've got somebody stealing Captain Marvel, aka Shazam's uniform, as he was apparently taking a dip. There's a barrel that has no bottom, no top, so he just conveniently crawled into it. There's a bunny that's really hard to see in the corner that's got a question mark, like what's going on.
You know what it is? It's because he's seeing what's behind it. Maybe Captain Marvel.
Maybe there's a hole. There's a hidey hole. Yeah,
like the cork maybe. Hole. Maybe he's packing. You just don't know. But yeah, what happens to Captain Marvel when he goes swimming? Read Captain Marvel's most embarrassing moment. I think it has to do with the fact. So they're saying that Captain Marvel's no undergarments, or his suit. The guy carrying his suit. It looks like the suit is kind of self-sufficient. It's not like a.
Maybe he's got his undies tucked in his boots.
There you go. Yeah. I guess you'd want to keep your clothes dry. But yeah, why is the bunny so confused? I don't know. This is kind of a mystery. So, Wiz Comics, was this like the whole thing with Captain Marvel, wasn't he acquired by DC Comics? So
he was, yes. It was kind of competing against. It was actually more popular than Superman at a time, which is kind of crazy. Wow. So it became a thing, and then acquired it, and then somehow Marvel actually got the name for Captain Marvel. Somehow, don't know sure how that worked out, but then later became a Shazam. And it's funny, Charlie. I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, this is what the kids would buy. This is not what I would look for an exciting story. A man losing his clothes. This is like something that would happen to me and you, not a superhero.
Talk about a slow, not even slow.
Spidey, right? He in the when he was in the suburbs.
Yeah, well, right. Yeah, he would a famous shtick would be he would web his, they always called him street clothes. He would web his street clothes like in a ball under a cornice of a building, and then that webbing only keeps his consistency for about 60 minutes. So he would come back too late, and his clothing would have fallen to the ground and lost him. Or he built it in such a way that when there was a bird that made a nest in his clothes. Peter Parker just couldn't cut a break. Oh my goodness! But all right, what's his backup feature? So you said this next image is the back cover of the same book.
When you're lucky with a comic, you get to enjoy the ads, and so there was the ad actually was available for this comic on the back, and it's called Captain Tootsie and the Secret Weapon. Apparently, this is brought to you by the Tootsie Roll Corporation.
Oh my god!
And essentially, it's got a little boy who's kind of Captain Tootsie's sidekick who essentially tells the kid like a code word to make sure you're not a Nazi, and runs into Nazis. And that's when the kid takes on some Nazis. Doesn't go so well. So Captain Tootsie comes on and takes the Nazis out. And he says, it takes a Captain Tootsie to nab a Nazi.
This kid's
gives him extra energy when he eats the Tootsies.
He's got really muscular legs. Captain Tootsie he doesn't dodge bullets. He kind of dips under him. He's like, whoop.
Yes, he's very fast. Yeah.
He missed me. To nab a Nazi. Yeah, the Nazis, it's just like two dudes in purple overcoats and purple hats. So yes, I guess they didn't want to get sued by the Nazi party for
and the best part is, as a kid, at the bottom of this ad, you could send away for 10 cents. No proof of purchase is needed of Tootsie Rolls, but you could get signal flags. You could learn how to signal naval ships.
And yes, standing out at the end of your dock if you lived, if at the end of your street was the Detroit River, like it was when my dad was growing up.
How exciting, kids. Get your signal flags today. I don't know. There's an address we could probably send away, see if we get it, Charlie.
Yes. Department N1, Station O, P.O. Box 10. That's really complicated. But New York, 11, New York. So back when, they had secret codes.
The zip codes were 2.
Yeah. Beechwood 45709. That was one of those old songs. Because people used to have a phone number, but the first 3 instead of the first three digits, they were letters. So it was, Klondike 5, the like Simpsons phone number.
Enjoy
Klondike
that.
5
Your
22709.
alphabet. You have to dial your alphabet.
Yeah. Let's find a way to just make this new technology even more confusing. But somebody who could tell us very fondly about that new technology with the telephone, that would be our senior news correspondent. We're talking about Madam Webb, down at the corner of Hollywood and Vine, 123 years young. She's creeping up on 124. My goodness. But anyway, she's got all the latest bits of great news for us in her news and scoops. Let's go for it.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. We've got some great news, Madam Webb. We got all of that old Halloween stuff on clearance for you, so you have your wardrobe planned out for the year. You can be skeleton in 1 week. You can be devil, angel, Pokemon trainer. Just think about it, Charlie. She's all set.
That's probably all on the weekend.
She's all set. She doesn't have to worry about spending her wonderful pension she got from the Tootsie Roll company.
I had to drive to an office Max today to get some print cartridges, and the Spirit Halloween next door was already gone. I think
like
it was there. Yeah.
They just show up by magic and they're gone.
Like, remember the end of Poltergeist where the house just goes? Yep, that was it. That's what they do. So, all right, what do we got going on here?
Yeah, so the big news is Disney is making a big acquisition. They are acquiring the final pieces of Hulu and will own the company wholeheartedly. They had a partnership with, I believe, Fox and also Comcast at the point, Comcast Universal. They had the opportunity. They either had to sell it to Comcast, the remaining portion, or buy it. That was the only thing could do. It was one of the things. Somebody was going to own this thing wholehearted. So basically, Disney is buying this for $8.6 billion. Essentially, this will be a Disney wholly owned property. Back in the day, Hulu was kind of like, had almost everything on broadcast television, and then started adding additional new content from that, along with some cable stuff. Now, I don't really know what the future for Hulu content is beyond just really being Disney focused, because right now they license some content from NBC, I believe, and the Fox content they get like Simpsons and things like that. Is still Disney owned, but it's actually licensed by the Fox Corporation. Because of a licensing deal. So we'll see what happens with that. But this is probably a bigger play, Charlie, to basically bring Hulu and Disney Plus together, kind of like Max has HBO Max as HBO has a portion of it.
Paramount and Showtime. That same kind of deal.
Yeah, I'm guessing. So I'm thinking in a way Disney Plus will now just have Hulu instead of two separate apps. It will be part of Disney, and it'll be its adult portion. So you'll still log into your adult content, like that stuff that's on Disney right now. But that's
take me to adultcontent.com. Does this mean that Hulu could ostensibly merge? It'll be Hulu Disney, or Hulu the brand name will just go away? What will it endure? What would be the purpose in making it endure if they're going to integrate so much of this content? Why do they need two bits of it? Because they're already trying to nudge you into get the Hulu and the Disney and the ESPN Plus or whatever. So why continue to have all these separate apps if they're going to be merging this content?
I'm guessing they won't have separate apps. I'm thinking it just goes away. Like, you don't have HBO as an app anymore. You just have Max.
Right.
Yeah. And I guess there's some legacy people that sign up through their cable company that can just get HBO still, but that's like kind of the thing. Just kind of like Discovery Plus is still a thing, but I think that's a legacy thing because that's all part of Max now too. So, and I'm thinking the same way with, what is it? Paramount Plus, is it Showtime?
Yeah, they did that about
like Showtime is going away too. Like, it's like as a standalone thing, Showtime's going away. So I think that's where you're just going to be. It's going to be one less thing, and it's a way to basically increase cost, like revenue, because now it's like, we're just going to raise your price. So instead of like
right now, you have all this much more content. Exactly.
Instead of the Disney Plus, Duo bundle, you're just getting Disney Plus premium or whatever you're calling it.
Yeah, sure.
And you're paying maybe now you're paying $18 a month or whatever, rather than the $15 a month. Yeah.
My goodness. Yeah. So now you can have all your raunchy murder, porn, and horror movies next to Star Wars and Marvel and Mickey Mouse. It's be fantastic.
And Hulu
Star
doesn't exist over
Star porn.
Exactly. It's like Skinemax and HBO. Really, like nobody really signed up for Skinemax. They just got it with HBO.
Right.
But Hulu doesn't exist overseas. So this is really one more thing where it's like this gets like overseas. You just get all the stuff under Disney Plus. It's just there, and there's no Hulu branding.
Right. So what you're saying is Hulu is the gazelle on the plane, and Kraven the Hunter is coming for it.
Oh yeah,
with a big spear.
Yeah, it's almost over. Man. It's almost done. Yeah. So this should happen in 2024. It goes away, and then once again, we'll probably see a revamped Disney Plus app, and they'll probably do some deals to get everybody on it, and then raise prices after that.
Go, but of course. Yay. All right. So speak of raising prices while lowering a budget, what's this next piece of movie news we have?
Yeah, so Charlie, we're still dealing with like all of those really big shocker stories that came out of the variety news piece, and one of them was all about Blade and how it has struggled to just really find. It was supposed to actually be out this week, Charlie. Did you know that? Like Blade was supposed to be out November 3rd. 2023. Yeah. So it's because they fired filmmakers. People have left. They haven't been able to figure out a script. At one point, there was a idea to pitch it. So Blade was it was like the fourth character in the film, not the lead. It was like 3 women and Blade. Like Charlie's Angels, and he was Charlie.
Oh, it's the reverse of Gladys Knight and the Pips, and he's like male Gladys.
Kind of. It was so weird. Yeah, it was, and then
that's a very itchy and scratchy and poochy kind of notion.
Yeah, and Marsha Ali was is going to star in this, but apparently he was getting very frustrated because he's like, "What's going on? I want to take on other projects, do these things." And originally, this was going to be a pretty big budget film, comparative to the Marvels, which is costing $274 million. Now they're trying to tighten their belt straps. And it sounds like this is now going to be $100 million film.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
Yeah. For a vampire, normal, horror film, that's a lot of money. For a Marvel film, that's got to be the cheapest film they've ever made.
That's about a third of what, usually they're, but because what's the biggest budget that Marvel has had to date? Endgame or something, $750 million or $500 million, whatever that was.
It was pretty big. It was probably close to 400. But when you're hearing now that She-Hulk apparently cost $225 million, that Secret Invasion costs like $200+ million.
Oh, I mean, Invasion.
It's just kind of crazy that
Secret Invasion is Marvel's not so secret shame. That's what Secret Invasion is. Yikes.
Yeah. So it sounds like they're going to be a more focused film. $100 million, which is probably not a bad idea for Marvel now, where they're not making $1 billion. You get the budgets down, make sure they look good.
Right. It's the new reality of what their trajectory of the repeated failures kind of drives, because, they can't just keep throwing. I mean, like that article we read about that we talked about last week or the week before that about the Daredevil show of Marvel, pivoting and saying, "Hey, we just can't throw money at things and think that something's going to blossom out of our dollar bills."
No.
We have to have creatives who are actually driving the bus and not just a bunch of studio execs who say, "I like money." People like Marvel, they'll buy anything that we throw them. Well, they don't, and that's what has happened. Post Endgame, they've really just watched most of everything decline, not only in box office but in quality as well overall. So this is again, this coupled with the Daredevil news from a couple of weeks ago is great. Let them make a movie for a lot less money, and if it's a hit, then their trajectory is cemented that that you can do more with less if you write something good, but maybe they'll put more of that money into paying those poor writers. Well, I mean, that's the deal they made,
Exactly. Yeah, I think maybe go with more practical effects, which would work good in a horror sense. And
Right.
then they did bring on one of the writers of Logan to actually redo the script, which is good news because that's a great movie.
Right.
And they did announce the new director. His name is Jan Demange, who did Lovecraft County, which I really liked on HBO, which was a really good type of horror type of series. But the cool part is, Charlie, this is going to be Marvel's first R-rated film. They just announced that, which I
Wow.
think is a
That's
great
intense.
move.
That's intense. Well, you can only go so far again on that same trajectory doing same old. And you're going to, you're obviously, as we've seen, it creates diminishing results. So this is seems like a very necessary next step. And that really, and again, if I can transition, pairs right into the next story that we're going to be talking about, another Marvel property. This is over on Disney Plus, Echo, which spins off of the Hawkeye, the Christmas story. Which just watching this trailer with Echo and then with Vincent D'Onofrio, who I got to meet this weekend, by the way, on Friday night.
Oh, really?
He was one
Very
of the,
cool.
Yeah, he was one of the guests at the show, and we were catching a lull. And my friend Candy McFarland Sweets was one of the cosplay guests. She grabbed me and said, "Let's go meet Vincent." And there's nobody over there, and I chatted with him. I had a great line that I got to repeat a couple of different times. I said, "Vincent, I love your stuff, man. I saw Full Metal Jacket when I was 11, which is not a movie that an 11-year-old should see, but it was the 80s, man. And I was a latchkey kid, and that's what we watched." And he thought that was pretty funny.
Who's bigger, you or him, Charlie? Because he's a pretty big dude.
He was sitting, but he's built. He was built. He was in great shape. I don't know if he's.
Oh no, I mean he's like just a
well, he was
guy. Yeah.
he was sitting down behind a table which was elevated. So I don't know. I didn't ask him to stand back to back with me, but yeah, I would imagine.
Look me in the eye, son.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and then later was George Takei was also there, but I was not able to interface with him. He was kind of the mob scene. Biggest guest of the show that I went to, Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob. I saw 200 people in his line.
Holy cow! Kids, everybody loves SpongeBob.
Well, it's an entire generation going back.
Oh, and Tom
years.
Kenny's been an actor. He's Fry in Futurama. I mean, he's been everything.
Oh my gosh, he's not Fry. No, that's Tom Kenny. Is not.
No, that's
Fry
Billy Ward.
Yeah, there you go. But he was another voice in Adventure Time. That was his other big credit, Tom Kenny. But anyway, off the topic, Echo. So this is one of the Echo is Alaqua Cox. This is dropping at the end of the year, and we talked about this some time back. Is that it's all dropping?
Actually, it's January 14th. January
14th. No. Okay, yep. But again, it's all dropping at once, which we kind of quipped at the time, and I echoed this to April when we were watching this trailer. I said, "Hey, they really can't lose by dropping it all at once because you'll get the bingers, which." There's a segment of people that really like that. And if they dig it, that's awesome. If it's terrible, it's gone in a week. Nobody cares and nobody's talking about it.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's going to be the shortest MCU show so far. 5 episodes. It's going to mature, and it's under this Marvel Spotlight banner, Charlie, which is essentially saying that we can tell smaller stories that may not have to really connect broadly or have huge impacts to the MCU, which is a great decision because that means you can tell great stories and not have to worry about, well, can I use this person or can't? Or, when does this take place? And oh my God, did you notice that problem? Because that happened in this.
Yeah. It's the Star Wars trap, it's having the Lucasfilm continuity group and, it's just making it right. If you make everything so granular, then you're just kind of walking in a circle, paint yourself into a corner. So yeah, that's cool. I mean, there have been great stories even in the MCU, but even in Marvel that came before it that were set in, the grim and gritty New York City storyline, which have been subsequently erased, like Netflix's Daredevil, but some of those stories, some of those elements of that were really very good. So this, but the question is, will this be any good? And I don't know. I mean, we saw a trailer, we saw a lot of blood and punching. So will this be kind of Daredevil all over again?
That's a good question. I mean, it is definitely, when I saw it, I'm like, wow, this is really mature. It's showing people getting, hit in the head, Kingpin tearing a dude apart. The last time we saw the Kingpin, he was, had a higher power level. He was a
Right.
little bit goofier, was wearing a different type of suit.
Right.
So I don't know, and this is more about Echo probably becoming more of a helpful vigilante, and she's going to help people.
Right.
That's kind of like her journey. And
Yeah.
maybe the good news is this doesn't have to be anything more than that. Like, we just leave and Echo goes along and just continues to be a street vigilante helping,
Right.
in Hell's Kitchen. And
So she doesn't have to show up in the Kang Dynasty War or whatever, because it just has no relevance to
or Blade taking on, Blade taking on the Hulk. That just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I totally you could make it happen. It just is like,
but it's
though?
why? Yeah, no, absolutely not. So yeah, this is good. So yeah, the only way that any of this stuff endures is by diversifying. Because you just can't do same old, same old. It's why we have 4 or 5 different rotating Star Trek shows that are of set in a different time frame and with a different tone. You got the animated comedy, the show for the kids, the more traditional. You got the one that takes a little bit more risks, like Discovery. So got to do it. Got to do it. So so it's January 14th. So this is your getting into the new year reason for me not to cancel Disney Plus, because I keep saying, damn it, I'm going to do it, because in December they have What If, which
and Doctor Who's coming too.
And
so,
which is not Marvel, but it could be someday. Who knows?
It is on Disney Plus, though. Yes,
it is on Disney Plus. Yeah. All right. Well, it's interesting because you'll be hearing on Spinner Rack for our Patreons, and for our non-Patreons, you'll hear it the episode on down the road when we publish it on our network feed. But we read a comic about the 2011 Planet of the Apes franchise, which launched with James Franco and blah 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 John Lithgow, which I enjoyed very. April liked those movies. She and I have seen all 3 of them. Now there's going to be a sequel, which really has a little bit more of the vibe of the 1968 Chuck Heston original. Yeah, because you're seeing a world that has taken place. But I won't go through the whole saga again of how the story came to pass, but what you're seeing in this is, this trailer opens, there's a majestic hawk sailing through the sky, and you hear a voiceover, and an arm sticks out, and the hawk lands on it, and it's an ape. It's an ape speaking in English, and acting like a person, and what you see around him is an overgrown, city, and you see these apes chasing human beings in loincloths who can't speak, and so we're right back in the correct. I mean, this could be a movie that ends with Chuck Heston showing up. It could be that close.
Or Mark Wahlberg.
No. Didn't you think the orangutan character kind of looked like Dr. Zayas?
It kind of did.
Could this be a direct tie-in? I wonder.
Yeah. One question for you, because in the new trilogy, Caesar, was he the only one who could speak?
I believe so, but it was a lot more sign language for everyone else. But obviously, so that lends credence to the thought that this could be hundreds of years later.
Yeah, we don't know how long this is. We just know
the apes can't be like, and then magically everybody could talk, because it was just
the Earth looks completely like planted over.
Yeah, it looks like it could be 500 years later, and that's my guess, because as I said at the end of the third film, your villain was Woody Harrelson, and this virus that originally got everything rolling mutated into a form that it started to kind of de-evolve the human beings. They got dumber. They couldn't speak anymore. And so, by the time we get to Chuck Heston, you have human beings who are nonverbal.
It's like Idiocracy, Charlie.
Oh my God, I watched that movie not that long ago. It's still real. It's so
got
dumb,
electrolytes.
but it's still real. Yes, it's Brondo. It's got what planes crave.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, this looks great. And this is Memorial Day. So this is going to be in our summer wager.
It's going to be the kickoff. Which is kind of neat, because typically it's a Marvel movie. So not a bad change up. And Disney needs more things. And this is part of their Fox acquisition. So this is kind of a big deal for them to do something big that is not one of their
established big franchises, and
not a live action remake of an animated film,
like which they've all. Okay, so Todd, so the challenge is to you, because you're likely going to end up having to see.
I guess it's time. I guess I got to do my Rocky. I got to do my Creed watch through, and I've got
Right.
like 5-6 months, so I've got time.
Right. It's not hard, and I'm sure most of these are.
My in-laws are visiting,
Yeah.
so I need things to watch.
Oh, I know you really want to put that on whack. You want to put that out there?
I need something on it where we're not talking.
Todd, that's a little bit more brutally honest than you tend to get on these airwaves, so I admire that.
What can I say?
Hey, look, it's not that I don't feel the same way.
Everybody
about my
loves
in-laws,
their
bro.
in-laws.
Oh,
Yes.
my
Like everybody
goodness,
loves Raymond. Yeah.
Oh my! Well, the thing is with my father-in-law, he just doesn't talk, and it doesn't mean he's pissed. He's just not a talker. Now, my mother-in-law, on the other hand, it would be great if she was.
She makes up for it.
Yeah, she sure does. Oh my god! Oh no! All right, so this next one, I had no idea that this was going to be a thing, and this was a long trailer. It was like 3 minutes.
Oh yeah,
but this looks fantastic.
Yeah, Charlie. So just to let you know, and the audience. So we got a trailer for The Fall Guy. So a lot of people are of a certain age will not even know The Fall Guy was a TV series in the 80s. And it was wonderful. Lee Majors.
Yes.
There was the sidekick. I can't remember what his name was, but he was kind of like the Bruce Boxleitner type.
Wasn't Heather Thomas was the compulsory blonde chick? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Heather Thomas was everybody's crush. Everybody wanted to, everybody had a poster of Heather Thomas up. But he was the main character. He was Colt Seaver was a stuntman, and
Colt Seaver,
and he had a cool truck.
It just reminds me because I think of Tom Cody from our Streets of Fire, and then I think of I saw Bill Burr. Bill Burr is one of my favorite stand-ups, but he had that show F is for Family, and his favorite show was called Colt Luger, and it was like Columbo crossed with
and basically Colt was a stuntman. He had a cool truck, and he ended up like solving crimes and helping people out with his stuntman skills, which is perfect scenario. I would do it if I was a stuntman too, but that's what we're basically getting. It's Ryan Gosling is in this action comedy with Emily Blunt where he is a stuntman playing Colt Seaver. He's got the truck, and essentially it turns into where he has to go and save the actor because he's missing and using his stuntman skills. Like the
Sandy Bullock Channing Tatum movie. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this looks fantastic, and this is another one that we're getting. I think it did say March or April, so kind of
end of third
probably
quarter.
First
spring
quarter,
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, so this looks like fun. Yeah, I had no idea this was coming up. So it looks like a blast. Why is Ryan Gosling has no right to be so goddamn handsome? I'm so pissed off that he's so muscular.
Weirdo, and he does such weird roles too. But I love it that he's embracing comedy. And I know one of the movies he did, and Chris Toms, who was on our podcast, he's been on with us. He was just on with us. For Shocktober, and one of his favorite movies is the movie with he and Russell Crowe, where one's a detective. And one's like was it The Wrong Guys? The Fall Guys? No.
Oh, I remember The Other Guys, but that was with Will Ferrell.
No, it's basically a movie. He loves him in that movie too. And I'm like,
the nice guys, the guys,
the nice guys. Yeah, that's what it is. Go. Yeah. So I mean, I think Ryan Gosling should make more movies like this. When he gets too overly serious, he gets too
notebooky.
Yeah. Or what was that one movie? Where was it, The Driver or whatever? Where he had that coat and he was just so intense.
Oh, is it Go? Was it yeah, exactly. I'm intense with my coat. Oh my goodness. Well, that takes us out of the news. Todd got to get out that Fuber app, that Feeble app. The Geek Easy awaits down in Scugtown, Nastyville. Talk about what we're enjoying. Let's go.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, drinks are poured, cover band's playing, and we are ready to get our nerd on. So first I'll kick it off with a show that is returning. Just dropped its first new episode of season 2, and that's Invincible. It's on Amazon Prime. They've been hyping this up. This was on so Amazon, Charlie, has Thursday Night Football. So they stream it on their app, and they were hyping this show up, which is kind of cool to use the platform to bring a lot of people to a property like Invincible, which I loved season 1. And so season 2, essentially, and for anybody that's new to Invincible, this is essentially, it's Spider-Man and Superman kind of combined into one story about a kid whose dad's the most famous superhero of all. but he's actually hiding a big secret, and that's kind of revealed throughout the series. So season 2 picks up where kind of everything's in shambles, and he's the main character's left to pick up the pieces. Kind of like his dad's gone, and we don't know when he's coming back, if he's coming back. And
so wait a second.
In shambles.
Pick up the pieces. So do you hear na 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 na?
They actually played a Radiohead song, which is Karma Police, which I'm like, ooh, that's a brave choice, because that doesn't always work out. But yeah, so we're basically set up, and it's kind of getting the team team of heroes back together again, and it's kind of like establishing new leadership and getting at the new norm. And then we're introduced to first, we think it's a protagonist, but it turns into an antagonist by the end of the first episode, which is kind of cool. So we're given a way to go. But this show, I think it does a really good job of managing teen drama with very serious tactics. It's very brutal. So if you don't like the gore and the grime, which now Amazon Prime's getting kind of like synonymous for with The Boys and all of shows,
and Gen V, which we'll talk about in a moment as well.
Goodness. So they only dropped one episode, which I was surprised, because usually Amazon will drop like 3 or 4 episodes or 2.
Yeah, they do they do like a 3-2-2-3. They did that with like Daisy Jones and the Six, which I loved. But yeah, it was weird.
But I did actually watch the first episode this time, Charlie. I didn't like skip ahead and watch.
Oh, well, they didn't really, you didn't watch the like special features. Like, this isn't a show. These are just clips.
Exactly. No. So it was, but I will say this on this show, every episode, they always have like after credits stuff. So it's like, it's always there. So I'm not sure why don't they just have it versus being after credits, but they also do every episode. They kind of use the logo for the show. And the first season was all about it. It got bloodier and bloodier and bloodier every episode. You saw it like got more blood.
That was kind of like, they kind of do that. Like The Walking Dead did that as it went by. The Walking Dead got more desiccated. Yeah.
Yeah. And this season, it's more like it's showing cracks in the logo, so that's kind of cool. They're doing something new with that. So highly recommend Invincible, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I'm guessing it's probably 8 episodes, so if you don't watch it now, it's going to be there when you can get to it. I think it's renewed through season 3. So so good news.
I was going to say, Amazon Prime, guess what? You've got it anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, we're subscribed, and they're going to start. Well, the big news is we already talked about this. They're going to start charging for ads. Like if you don't want ads to watch Prime shows, it's an extra $2 a month. So good times.
Friends, it's all the big money machine. You couldn't have think people your cord cutter group started. I really should start following one of those again, because I after my Facebook hack, I started with a new Facebook profile. Which, by the way, today is my Facebook hack birthday, and I've had a bunch of people wishing me a happy birthday.
I saw that. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, Carden. I didn't.
It was just because when we started, April did it for me. It was this day. A year ago, I've had that. I've had that identity, which I will not say here.
And you made that your birthday. Like, today, I have been born.
Well, I was going to say there's an algorithm that can't. But I mean, I think it's not even my correct age, because it was not the same year. I can't remember.
I know lots of people that just have fake names and stuff just to do it. So
it's probably good. Yeah. But anyway, all right. So Gen V. Yes. A lot of more blood and explosions. All right.
Yeah. So Gen V is done with season 1. And what really impressed me, Charlie, is they really are embracing the fact that this is just an ongoing universe. We've got, the big news was Homelander showed up in this episode, which was
big time.
Really, really damn cool.
We also got
we also got the I don't remember her role, but she was essentially Billy Butcher's handler for the CIA or whatever organization too. So she showed up too, and then we get the politician.
The politician who makes people's heads explode. Yeah,
who we find out has the same power as our main character, which is kind of neat, because then you can see there are duplicated powers in this universe.
Right,
and so this was kind of like the big what's going to happen? And I don't know if we got any resolution from the season whatsoever. It kind of felt like things are just going to get crazier and nothing wrapped up. And I don't think we're in a better place.
And our big after credits cameo was, of course, Billy Butcher himself, the return of Carl Urban. I don't, and again, we don't know, unless I'm very much mistaken, if we even have the boys coming back or when. I think we must be. But yeah, we got teases of obviously seeing Homelander, seeing Billy Butcher, and the exploding head senator lady and everything. So, and then we also got the really unhinged CEO of Vought, the young lady Ashley.
Oh, the former
Yeah.
publicist. Yeah,
Yeah,
she shows
exactly.
up again.
Oh
Yep.
my God. So
Oh,
yeah,
my
it's
goodness.
just crazy. But yeah, the whole episode was based around a revolt on campus, and it was the pretty blonde girl who was taking the lead of the revolutionaries, and she went toe to toe with our lead character and lost. But then Homelander shows up and equalizes, and our characters end up in a bunker or something with no door, so they don't know where the hell
No
they are.
door.
Yeah.
And the show's done some interesting things where they've, done some, we've had bloody puppets, we've had all of these different approaches to it, and it's kind of interesting where we're going to lead. But I was just looking, Charlie. So, The Boys season 4 will pick up a couple of days after the Gen V finale.
Oh, okay.
So this is very, very new news, and they don't specifically say anything about when that will actually happen. But
Oh,
man,
boy.
oh man, it just
Interesting.
seems like, are we going to get they'll just intertwine, and so we don't have to worry about waiting 2 years until we find out what happened to these characters? Is it just,
right.
will they team up with maybe the boys,
I
our
guess,
leads of
right?
Gen V?
Could be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Times.
But yeah,
I'm so happy it came together.
Yeah, no, it was good. That was good to find a way to integrate it in. So yeah, I enjoyed it. So once again, Amazon Prime, you already have it. All right. So for me, it's going to be Quick Take Central. With all of my travels and travails, we've not even been to the movie theater in a bit. So the Celebration people made their money off of us because we didn't go. But Five Nights at Freddy's was out in the theaters just before Halloween. It was a big hit, as I understand it. But it was same day Peacock. And my son was interested in it years ago, much younger than he should have been. So I was aware of it.
Gen V or Gen Z. Gen Z, not Gen V.
Oh, I hope not. Yeah, Gen Z, the Zennials, they dig it. So yeah, so it's all about there's this weird old, broken down, kids amusement park, which is like Showtime Pizza Cross with Chuck E. Cheese, and these weird robots, animatronic robots from the 80s. And in the movie, Todd, did you see the movie?
I didn't. I heard it's a
Okay.
mixed bag.
It's not Shakespeare, but it's
Really?
it's a horror movie, not with a lot of gore. You do get Matthew Lillard as one of the characters, who's somebody I've never been able to stand. But our friend Kurt Krug, a friend of the show, Kurt Krug, has interviewed him and said he's a nice guy. So I'm sure it's true.
He's Shaggy, man. He's Shaggy's the best.
But it's Josh Hutcherson is the star, and he's a young guy, down on his parents have died, left him with his young sister to raise in a house, apparently, for a guy who can't keep a job. He's got a house. But he lands a temp job guarding Freddie Fazbear, which is this broken down Showtime pizza place where the robots are really inhabited by ghosts and demons. And there's this pretty lady cop who gets involved, who wants to help him out. And the twist at the end is a big old whatever. That's it.
Because
anyway.
I do want to watch it. It seems kind of so is this a hard R?
No, it's a much more of a PG-13. There is probably a single element of some body horror where a body gets cut in half, but it actually happens in shadow ish. Yeah. So not a lot of blood, not a lot of gore. So yeah, I would call it a heavier PG-13.
But I guess it makes sense if you want kids to go see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. So you want to really trample on that. So yeah, worth it. And it's, my new sweet spot for any movie is a lean 90 minutes, either plus or minus 5 minutes. And if I'm not mistaken, this falls in that regard. So that was that. So again, Peacock. What's nice about Peacock when you watch a movie, they give you a big blast of commercials at the beginning, and then they just kind of leave you alone when it comes to the movie.
Yeah,
so
I'm pretty pleased with Peacock. I think it's a good service.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. All right, and then I did a 1-2 punch over on Netflix. Last night we watched No Hard Feelings, which was a Jennifer Lawrence release from the summertime. Which the premise of it is just gross, which is probably why we didn't go see it.
Can't Buy Me Love, right?
Yeah,
it really Can't Buy Me Love, but a reverse.
But she's 33 and the boy is 19. But yeah, it's the same thing. This very sheltered kid. His parents, put an ad in the online. I would say in the paper, it's not a thing. Please date our son and you can get this car. And Jennifer Lawrence is this 33-year-old woman down on her luck who loses her car, and she's a permanent screw up, which is why her life sucks. And she ends up taking the parents up on their offer, but kind of keeps it below the radar and ends up befriending this kid. And while a lot of it is kind of immature humor, I mean, there's a scene and apparently Jennifer Lawrence did not use a body double of about 60 seconds of her fighting a group of kids naked because she was skinny dipping. And did
they steal her clothes like Shazam?
They did steal her, and the kid as well. Yeah, exactly.
Was there no barrel?
There was no barrel, and it was at night.
Oh no!
But it was, like I said, it was kind of a corny comedy, but it did, it had some good messaging and some good kind of lessons for the characters and stuff like that, and it was okay. It's a good movie.
I was curious about that one. It looked kind of funny.
It's a good movie to watch on Netflix. But as we were talking in the B-roll, I did watch Old Dads, which is another Netflix movie that came out about 2 weeks ago. The star is Bill Burr. He's one of my favorite comedians because he's Boston Irish. My grandmother was Boston Irish, so I have it in my blood. So I really appreciate him. But it's him and Bobby Cannavale and Bokeem Woodbine as three late 40s, early 50s buddies who founded a company. They ended up selling it off and go back to work for it. But this young kid who takes it over is this, kind of millennial crap bag, and everything they do is offensive. And Bill Burr's character has a relatively new marriage. He's got like a 5-year-old son and a baby on the way, and it's about the misadventures in between and coming back together and figuring out how to deal with his anger. And boy, is he angry. He is Irish level angry. I appreciated every raunchy thing he had to say, and I had a lot of fun watching it. It's a good movie. Not really, but it's your typical comedy where they're high and then they're low and then things basically end okay.
It's a Sandler comedy, I assume.
Level. It kind of felt like a Will Ferrell, like an Anchorman, like I'm high, I'm low, I'm high, I'm low. Yeah, that kind of deal.
Got it.
But no, I enjoyed it, and you had some Netflix faces in it. You had one of the women who was in Glow was one of the wives, and who was one of the moms? Katrina Bowen, who is one of the really sexy girl in 30 Rock in the early seasons, the blonde girl.
Oh. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it was Patrice or something like that. Yeah, the one. Yeah.
Yeah. And now she's playing a mom. Time marches on. But anyway, it's funny. Again, Netflix, it's a service that you have, whether you know it or like it. I personally, that's one of the ones that I would get rid of, but April uses it and swears by it.
It's always something new, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like it's always got something.
You can't, and the free trials go. You can be like, I'll just join up and watch this thing, and nope, they're just gonna keep getting you. They're gonna keep getting you.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, that's a wrap. Taking us up out of the Geek Easy. Time to get out that Air Qantas app. The Land Down Under awaits. Hologram Tina and the mutants are in the Thunderdome for us to talk about a fun new topic. I'm looking forward to Geek TV through the ages. Let's go.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. We're sitting in the Thunderdome where the mutants have been gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained. And this week, we're talking about TV through the ages. And I picked the threes. So 1973, 1983, 93, and 2003. And if we get time, we'll go to 2013. So basically, I think it's really instructional to understand where we came from to really appreciate where we are today. So when people complain about too much TV, too much stuff, geek, hangover, too much content, we'll let you know as you hear what we talk about, because we're going to cover the ratings, the top 20 shows of that year, and also the new shows that came out. So kind of you understand the landscape and how lucky we should feel.
Right.
And Charlie, there's only going to be one of these that we were not alive when it happened. Right. So that's the funny part. The rest of these, Charlie and I were in the throes of being consumers of TV.
We were there, man. All right. So you're going to rip me through this top 20? That's the deal.
So I'll start from the bottom and go to the top. So in 1973, the top 20 TV series, Sunday Night Football. Didn't know that was a thing. Monday Night Football.
The Sunday night movie, not Sunday Night Football.
Oh, Sunday Night Movie. No, you're right. Yeah. So that makes sense. Yes, movies were a big thing when they would it's the movie night
because there was no home video. Exactly,
no home video. Rarely did movies go back to the theater.
Right.
And so essentially, this would be an opportunity to see a movie for the first time. So there we go. Then Monday Night Football. Then Barnaby Jones,
a favorite of Eric Cartman's, as I recall.
Yep. Good Times.
Dun 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 dun.
Happy Days.
Do 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 do.
Yep, and then NBC has a Sunday mystery movie.
Ooh, a mystery.
Yep. Then Gunsmoke in probably year 85.
Yeah, right. It's been on since 1913.
Exactly. The longest running show until The Simpsons. Wonderful World of Disney. They used to show like movies and TV series and things like that. The Bob Newhart Show, the first iteration of Newhart.
The first of 90. He's still alive, isn't he?
I think he is. He's still great. He's so good.
I know.
Then we get the $6 Million Man, like the first like genre show.
Right.
Lee Majors coming back. Hey, thanks, Lee.
Yeah, right. I love that. And that was before the Fall Guy because it was the 70s.
Exactly. Yeah. Then we have Cannon, which I think was a detective show.
Sure.
Mary Tyler Moore.
Yay.
One of her first shows. Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour. So
gypsies, chimpanzees. We heard it from the people of the town.
Exactly. Thank you. Then Kojak,
Who loves you, baby?
Exactly.
He has your hair. He has your hairline, Todd.
Then we got Maude, which was a spin-off
Lady Godiva, do 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 do, na 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 na. It was a spin-off of Alice.
All the Family.
All the Family. There we go.
Yeah. Then Hawaii Five-0.
Dun 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 dun. I'm just gonna hum all the themes, so get ready.
Then MASH.
Do 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 do.
Suicide is Painless. Yes. Sanford and Son. Then the Waltons, a very Depression era family with too many kids,
right?
Like the Duggars before the Duggars.
Oh my god, or the Duttons, the shows, yeah. All right,
and then the number one show, All in the Family, a pioneering show all about covering race, religion, sexuality. Yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely, kind of the Family Guy intro is because of that.
Exactly.
So there you go, Charlie. So that's kind of where we were, folks. If you kind of noticed a trend, no genre shows, a lot of comedies, very few like dramas, but a lot of like cop shows and cop, lawyer, detective things.
Right. All right.
So premieres, Charlie. I'll go through probably the top 20 there too. So we start off with Young and Restless. It's a soap opera. Yes, that's near and dear to our hearts. We watched it in college, and John and I grew up with as kids. Last of the Summer Wine. Don't know anything about that. The World at War. Barnaby Jones, obviously a new show. We talked about that. Kojak also debuted. So these are new shows that Match Game, game shows were huge back in the day.
That's wild.
Yeah. Police Story. That was kind of a story all about cops, obviously a story about police story.
Right.
Then Thriller, which was a horror anthology series, I believe, by Rod Serling. So a follow-up to The Twilight Zone. Then we had Star Trek, the animated series.
You missed number 8. Some mothers do Evum.
I have no clue what that was. So I passed it.
Pass.
Yes. Then
Star Trek, the animated series. Awesome.
Then we had Super Friends. Following up with that.
Still my favorite was at the time animated superhero anything because it was the first.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we had Tomorrow People, a science fiction series that went 6 seasons. I have no clue about that show.
Wow. It kept on to a new tomorrow. Oh, the Addams Family. Was this just like TAS? Like the animated Star Trek?
Pretty much. Probably by Filmation, so like Scooby-Doo era, that type of thing. So yeah, Filmation. Probably not very good. Then we had The Magician. This was a Bill Bixby series. Which is kind of weird.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, then we have Harry O. This might have been a spin-off from Hawaii Five-0, maybe? Maybe?
Is it? Well, no, it says San Diego Police Department, so probably not.
Okay. Yeah, it's like CSI. This is Hawaii, not 5-0. It's San Diego 5-0 with Harry O.
Oh, my gosh.
Then we have The Star Lost that lasted one season. Whatever Happened to the Likely Lads, which just sounds like a porn.
I know. Well, look at the cover of them. Well, they still got their clothes on, thank God.
Exactly. Then Schoolhouse Rock debuted that year, Charlie. Very exciting.
I'm on Capitol Hill. Dude, just think of this cool.
And then one of the craziest things that I think that we all watched were the Sid and Marty Krofft puppets and things. They had Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. That was such a weird era. Big puppets like H.R. Puffin stuff, doing wacky adventures with wacky music. Weird times, Charlie.
Oh my gosh! You want me to take 1983?
Yeah, if your voice is good.
All right, I think I can handle it. Top 20 in 1983. And again, I was 7. Todd, you were 8. And these a lot of these were like shows that my mom would have on, like Scarecrow and Mrs. King. That was a favorite of my mother's. The Jeffersons going into one of their later seasons. That spun off from All in the Family. Because we're moving on up. We have Riptide, not the song by Vance Joy. What? You know that one?
Oh yeah, you remember Riptide? They had a boat, and then you had like the one nerd had a robot and
night boat.
Yeah. They solved crime on a boat, Charlie.
Oh my God! Well, speaking of boats, we had the Love Boat going on. We had the Fall Guy that we already talked about in this episode, the original.
Because I'm the unknown stuntman.
Oh my goodness,
look so fine.
Very cool. Well, MASH had ended, so we got After MASH. Thank God. I remember a skit once on SNL or something like that about Before MASH, which was just a couple of guys in the field.
A bunch of people in Korea just hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, TV's bloopers and practical jokes.
Oh God, bloopers! And remember, it was Ed McMahon and Dick Clark.
Oh my God, that's what those guys did.
Oh my goodness,
that's what they did during the year, and Ed did.
Bloopers were huge.
I guess we had a 1-2 punch of ABC Sunday night and Monday night movies, and then we Daytown Knots Landing.
Not Dallas.
Not quite cracking the top 10. Cagney and Lacey starts the top 10. That was a lady cop show.
Everybody's mom loved Cagney and Lacey.
It was two tough chicks, and they weren't supermodels. They looked like real people. Hotel, which I kind of sort of remember. I think it might have been about a hotel.
It was James Brolin, Kenny Selica, where just guests it was like the Love Boat on shore, where they would like guests would show up and they'd have to solve their
issues. Yeah, I was going to say they wouldn't call it the Love Hotel. That wouldn't fly. Kate and Allie
dead hookers, and they had to figure out who the hooker belonged to.
Kate and Allie was like Cagney and Lacey, but the women were attractive. No, I'm just kidding. They weren't cops. They were just
they were divorced parents.
A couple of single moms
together,
doing their thing.
Divorced moms were big in the 80s.
Yeah, well, I had one, so yeah, it was big in my house. Falcon Crest, which was another nighttime soap, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that a Dallas spinoff, or was it just a thing?
Could have been. I don't know. But we had a couple of, we get into nothing but classics here. Magnum P.I., which he wore a Detroit Tigers hat. The reason that Tom Selleck was not Indiana Jones was Magnum P.I. Simon and Simon, two brothers solving crimes and being PIs or whatever, I think. The fantastic A-Team, 4 Vietnam vets who are soldiers for hire. Now, Dynasty was not an offshoot. I think Falcon Crest and Dynasty
Falcon Crest an offshoot of Dynasty?
Yeah,
okay.
or vice versa.
That was the show famous for slaps and champagne in the face.
And throwing somebody in a fountain. You got it.
That's right.
Now we're in nighttime news, 60 Minutes. Click, 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 click. And my favorite that someday, probably when I'm old and bedridden, I will watch the whole series. That would be Dallas. I did watch the revival in the 2010s.
Our local radio show host here, who actually has a new syndicated TV series that's going in different markets. His name is Jason Matheson. He's wonderful. And he is a huge Dallas fan. He's had Linda Gray on. He's had all of these people from Dallas on, and he just loves it. And he always talks about his memories of Dallas, watching it with his grandmother and recording it. So, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome. All right. Okay. TV show debuts. Go for it.
All right. Let me open the link really quick. So we have the A-Team. So a lot of shows just debuting the same year. Big deal. Yep. Typically they would get like the Super Bowl. Like this was the show that debuted after the Super Bowl. So got the in. We got Inspector Gadget, Charlie. This is like the golden years of cartoons for kids.
Absolutely.
Starting everything's going in. Then we had He-Man, the Masters of the Universe. One of my like entryways to cartoons.
Right.
Every day after school, He-Man was there for me. Fraggle Rock. So that was on HBO at the time, which
Right.
was just a weird show.
And we had HBO because it was one of those things that like, hey, this is new, have it for free or whatever. And so I saw a lot of HBO stuff. Saw my first softcore porn on HBO when I was a kid.
I didn't have cable until I was in junior high. I had
wow.
to watch any type of things on like cable or anything. I go to my grandma's in the middle of the country to watch satellite, and then somebody would find the Playboy channel, and there you go. The rest is history.
And then the fun is over.
Yeah, Tales from the Dark Side debuted, which was just a really funky, weird horror anthology series. I always enjoyed it. It was but it was so cheesy, but it was a lot of fun. Then Charlie, the bane of most people's lives in syndicated TV show, Mama's Family. Holy cow! What a horrible show! Horrible show.
Oh
Not funny,
my God,
not good.
Vicki Lawrence. Oh,
Yes.
Dungeons and Dragons is number 8 now. This was the animated, and these same characters did show up in the film as a cameo.
on Saturday morning cartoon. It was wonderful. I loved it.
I had no idea that Willie Ames and Donnie Most from Happy Days were voice actors. That's so crazy.
Yeah, Peter Cullen was a voice actor in this too. Optimus Prime.
Goodness.
Probably in them. Then we had The Joy of Painting debuted. Bob Ross.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this came so early. LeVar Burton on Reading Rainbow, which ran
following
for almost 30
Roots.
years. Yeah, 20 years actually. So that's awesome. Alvin and the Chipmunks, which was not new, but it was a new show. We had
skip a couple, Charlie, because those are not American shows.
Sherlock Holmes, Wheel of Fortune, Webster.
Webster.
yeah,
How did that last 6 years? I mean,
have
Webster
no
had to
idea.
be like, he had to be like almost an old teen. He's not as cute anymore. Yeah.
Scarecrow and Mrs. King. Now, Bruce Boxleitner was at the show this weekend, but I didn't get a chance.
He's great. Yeah,
I'm
obviously.
so busy working, I almost never. And then Kate Jackson,
royalty. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
Hardcastle McCormick. That's another one of those. It's the judge and an ex-con with a car solving crimes.
Oh my God! There was a Charlie Brown and Snoopy show that came on that year.
Oh yeah.
Frontline, and oh God, Todd, we finish it off with Manimal. And
Charlie. You can't stop with Manimal though, because Manimal was awesome, of course.
Oh my God, this is the one we talked about. But I will highlight the name of the star is Simon McCormickendale.
McCorkindale.
All right, so yes, we finished with the 1-2 punch of Automan and Banana Man.
Oh, that was a Nickelodeon show, I think, right? It was one of those weird ones. Yeah.
That is absolutely
crazy.
hilarious.
Oh God, it's so weird. You're getting like The Hitchhiker. Remember that show was an anthology series on USA, Charlie. On USA when they do like their like sexy weird stuff. And then Super Ted. Remember Super Ted on Nickelodeon?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
All right, let's slide us into the early
Charlie,
90s
one
here.
last honorable mention.
All right.
Scrappy Doo makes his appearance on Scooby Doo in 1983 in the new Scooby and Scrappy Doo show.
And the world was never the same. All right, talk to me about 1993.
Okay, 1993. That was the year I graduated high school. So very exciting. So top 20. We started off with Phenom, which I don't even remember what that was.
It was canceled. It's the only one on here that was canceled.
God, that must have been maybe a college show, like a college Phenom. I don't know. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, a big show for Will Smith. I thought that debuted earlier, to be honest. I thought that was much earlier than 93. Dave's World, which was about Dave, the writer. Dave Barry, and then Harry Anderson played him on that sitcom.
Oh, wow.
Wings, a personal favorite of mine. Loved Wings.
It was so big.
Good. Yeah. NYPD Blue, one of the first really adult shows. Yeah. With it actually got like mature ratings and things like that. Butts and language. Primetime. So a new show. Full House. This was in TGIF territory. Full House shows. That was big. 2020, another new show. Northern Exposure. This is where CBS got a little weird.
My mother loved that show. It was on this house all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Love and War. Don't know anything about that show. Thunder Alley.
Right next to Springsteen's Thunder Road.
Yep. Murder, She Wrote.
That's right. Poirot's descendant.
Oh, I didn't even. Yes, Murder, She Wrote. Exactly. Charlie, yes. That was season 10 of Murder, She Wrote. And it was almost in the top 10 still. I didn't notice there were seasons in here, which is pretty cool. So then the Sunday night movie was still a thing. That was number 10. Murphy Brown. That was
Very,
season
very,
6.
very big in this house without that. Monday
Yeah.
Night Football, of course. Frasier in its first season.
First season
Yeah,
debut,
big
yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Coach was another big one. That was season 6 of Coach. Wow. I thought it was earlier than that, or newer than that. Grace Under Fire. That's when the whole you gotta have what's her name, the Brit something or other, the comic.
Rhett Butler? No, not Rhett
Yeah,
Butler.
that was
whatever.
the era of the comedian sitcom.
Right.
That was that one. Then
'Cause
we had Roseanne.
Right. I can't
Season
believe
6.
the next one says Seinfeld season 5. I don't think that's correct. I think that show started in like 92. So that would really surprise me.
No, I think it started in like 90 because it was early. Got momentum. Yeah.
They must have had a couple little half seasons. Anyway, Home Improvement with Michigan's own cocaine loving Tim Allen.
Absolutely.
And
Season 3,
60 Minutes tops the charts for the year. My goodness. All right. And how about the new stuff? I'll rip through some of this here.
All right.
We already mentioned Frasier. This was the first year of the X-Files.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Very big. Naturally.
Charlie, did I tell you what I always thought about the X-Files? I thought it was like one of those reenactment shows, like as seen on, because that was a big thing. You're talking like as seen in
the Rescue 911
files.
One.
Yeah, so I'm like, why would I watch that piece of crap? And I found out it's actually one of the coolest shows on all time. So I kind of missed it for a few years until I think the first episode I ever saw was that when I hung out with you at your mom's house.
Oh, I'll bet. And again, it's one of my mom's.
And it was the episode with the weird hillbillies. It was like one of the most.
The one that they won't show anymore because it was all about this weird incest. No, actually, I have a Mulder and Scully over here on the studio that on my studio shelf that I gave my mother owned and she gave me. Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Deep Space Nine came out in January of that year. Just had that episode on. We show Star Trek episodes and TV shows in the booth, and I did first episodes one day, so that one did play. The Nanny with current SAG-AFTRA president Fran Drescher. Boy Meets World with Fred Savage's little brother, I think.
And Topanga.
And Topanga. Boy, she's got kind of a face that has got a lot of stuff going on these days. Fighting aging. NYPD Blue, we already talked about. Todd, here's your classic
Babylon 5. Yeah, that's so crazy that those shoes. It's like everything, like we got 2 asteroid movies, we got 2 volcano movies, we got 2 shows about space stations, Yeah.
Space stuff. Walker, Texas Ranger, just as a giggle, April and I watched an episode of this along with like Renegade. And don't you remember? I told you back a couple of weeks ago, we did that. We watched an episode of Renegade and then something else terrible from this era. Unforgivable. Dr. Quinn. Medicine Woman. Yeah. Holy cow.
That was a big deal.
Jane Seymour. But this was the first year of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which again, this was my senior year in high school. It was that fall. So my high school best friend Louie and I caught wind of this and watched it after school a couple of times. We're just pissing ourselves laughing because it's so ridiculous.
My friend Chris Santiago used to call it the Morphine Power Rangers because you had to be on morphine to watch it. And Sean Seitz, younger brothers were big into it. So it totally missed us.
It was
in college.
Yeah, it was.
I was in college. I was going into college when it debuted.
Yeah,
that fall season.
It was. Very big for about 10 years prior. But we got Diagnosis Murder.
Old guy solving murders.
You got it. Lois and Clark, New Adventures of Superman with the Superman that we don't talk about. Homicide, Life on the Street. I'm just trying to pick out.
That was like the beginning of like really quality. Dramas, like NYPD.
Richard Belzer and Yaphet Kotto. Yeah, Living Single, which is a show I love because I was very much into the hip hop culture when I was a teenager. Because
I missed that one.
I'm white and I grew up in the '90s. That was the thing.
I love Martin for some reason. Like Living Single came a little bit after that. So it
was Martin was a little bit before that. Yeah, because Martin was wind down. Sequel to Sequest DSV, which we talked about on our Patreon, Sequest 2032. And then this was the first year of Beavis and Butthead.
Oh yeah, that was huge in college for me, Charlie.
Yeah,
I would be there with my roommates. We'd watch it. We'd just go crazy. One shout out though for my son, The Wiggles. It was a big thing with his life.
Really? Same with my son Jackson. Absolutely.
Yeah. Another show my dad loved was The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. That was
big time.
Probably Bruce Campbell's first big success.
Michigan native Bruce Campbell, exactly. It was
It's a
right
series
around.
I've always wanted to watch.
Yeah,
I
again,
believe I own it somewhere.
my mom loved it, so we watched it, and it was at the same time that Army of Darkness came out in '93.
Yeah.
New shows that year, we have Arrested Development. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, I jumped to the. Whoops, sorry, I got ahead of myself. You take 2003.
Okay, so 2003, we get into the ratings. This is kind of like the still not streaming era. I mean, we're still in getting mad about cable fees and watching predominantly still the networks with
Right.
some cable shows thrown in. So we start at number 20 with Law and Order, one of many, the original.
Dun,
That
dun.
was season 14. Then we got into like weird reality shows, Charlie. Average
God.
Joe Hawaii. I think this was the show where they tricked people and made this. They made the contestants think that if you marry him, he's a millionaire, and he really wasn't.
Oh no!
Horrible.
Terrible.
Yeah, Everybody Loves Raymond was number 17. Fear Factor, once again, a reality show. Joe Rogan, before he became a weirdo,
Right.
hosted that show. Trista and Ryan's Wedding. This is when The Bachelorette was a big. I mean, it's a big deal, but this was at the very beginning, season 3. Another Average Joe show.
Well, and there's
okay.
and further up after Monday Night Football, there's The Bachelor 4 in season 3. If you can, a lot of this is coupling is.
That was canceled.
Yeah.
That was a British show they tried to bring in the U.S. and it didn't work.
Oh my God!
CSI Miami, Charlie, your dad, Bob Cardin, solving mysteries in Miami.
My dad looks like David Caruso.
That's what Brian and I always thought your dad was kind of like David Caruso. So yeah, it's an ongoing joke. I don't know. I'm surprised we never told you about that.
I don't think so. I don't see it, but it's not so far off.
Yeah, Bob Cardin solving mysteries. He take up his glasses and say, "That's how the cookie crumbles," or something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I shouldn't scream like that. Sorry. Will and Grace cracks top 10, but we've got a lot of Survivor, My Big Fat Obnoxious Fiance, more Survivor.
God.
CSI ER was still on. It was in season 10.
Mm-hmm.
Friends final season. That's right. Yeah, exactly. See, was still cracked the top 10. The Apprentice. How disgraceful. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, if only that show had been more successful, then we wouldn't have a certain person running for office, Charlie.
Oh my God. And
Did
then
we go back in time and give him more ratings?
Oh
so
my
he stuck
gosh.
around.
That's all he cares about is ratings. As he drives our country into the ground. But anyway,
Yes.
American Idol 1-2 punch of Tuesday night and Wednesday night held the top
That show was
spot
insane.
I was a can't miss it watcher myself.
Oh, absolutely. I was in New Mexico before we moved back from the Air Force, and I was watching with Chris. We were watching like this was kind of cool. It's kind of neat to see this because it was a one of a kind thing. We didn't have all of the talent shows that we do today, so that was kind of a big deal. I'm curious about the ratings. So if we look at this like a 10.7, I'd like to see how those changed over time because now a show it seems like if it gets like a 2 or a 3 is a big success.
Right. Yeah. It's just the audience has become more fractured.
That's a share.
It's
a share.
Yeah. So it is a share of total. So, okay. Counting up the top 20 of new programs.
Premieres. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now we have Arrested Development. Sorry. Great show that we all love. Super forgettable 2.5 Men is number 2.
Hugely successful for 12 years it ran.
I know. Well, speaking of this here, and here's a show that's still on. NCIS has generated 5 or 6 spinoffs. It itself was a spinoff from my favorite Belisario show, which would be Jag, which gets no respect.
Solving mysteries on a jet.
You better believe
solve
it.
Mystery on a boat, solve mystery on a car.
This was the next one was a summertime show, The OC, that gave us Misha Barton and Adam Brody. Here we come. I loved it. One Tree Hill, never got into that. Nip Tuck, I enjoyed. That was on FX.
That was like FX's first big show. Yeah,
pretty raunchy. Mythbusters, not really a jam. Full Metal
Alchemist show for my son.
I've heard of. Yeah. Oh, what Mythbusters or the Full Metal?
Yeah. Mythbusters, yeah.
My show of the year, without a doubt, was Chappelle's Show. I have the entire show committed to memory, watched it many, many, many times. Skipping forward, Carnivale, that was on HBO. Heard things,
Yeah,
but
it
haven't
was a
watched
big
it.
miss
Yeah.
for HBO. Yeah, I thought I liked the premise, but just didn't nail it.
Yeah. Dead Like Me was another. I think that was
Oh,
another.
Chris
Yeah.
loved that show, and that actually went to like Showtime for a season
Gotcha.
after it failed. But she loved that show. Yeah,
You got Josh Duhamel and Jimmy Can in Vegas. Las Vegas. Yeah.
Was that the one where they sang?
The two of them?
There was a musical. There was a musical like Vegas show.
Oh, I don't know. I'd say I didn't watch it. Cold Case was a big one with Catherine Morris, where she solved cold cases. We got Teen Titans, but this was not.
Oh,
Teen
Venture
Titans,
Brothers, Charlie, you missed that.
Oh
Venture
my
Brothers was
goodness,
forever.
yes,
Yeah,
that's a fun one. That was a spinoff of was it Johnny Quest or something? Or no,
it was based on Johnny Quest.
Yeah.
And kind of like being humorous on that. Teen Titans was a great show that ended up turning into Teen Titans Go.
Right.
And then Charlie, one of my favorites,
Absolutely.
the original Star Wars Clone Wars. These were 5-minute shorts. By Gendy Kurkovsky, they're really good.
They were 3-minute shorts. They were really short.
3 minutes. That's right.
And then we get a string of stuff. I will jump forward for an honorable mention at 23 of Reno 911.
Perfect show.
With Lieutenant Jim Dangle. Always remember. But no, that gave us there was a lot of the characters from comedians from The State, which was a show on MTV in the 90s I love, but also gave us the mom from the Goldbergs.
Oh yeah, from the
Wendy McCoven Culloven or whatever the heck her name is. So 2013 to take us home.
Oh yes,
Let's do
I will
it.
give you the top 20 for that. So this is the streaming era. This is the modern era of TV as you would know it, even though it's 10 years now past. So things have changed. We get to Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This was season 1. And this was the height.
My wife loved it.
This was like Marvel, like top, buzz and everything.
Could do no wrong. Yeah,
exactly. But this was still only like number 20, which was surprising me that this wasn't like the top show. Then we had Survivor, which was in season 15. Which is crazy because I think they do 2 seasons a year. So who knows how many seasons they really do. Family Guy, removed from cancellation, brought back season 12.
And still running. Yeah, The Bachelor, another. We have 2 nights of American Idol in the top 20, so not what it was, but still popular enough. Sleepy Hollow on Fox. This was a show that I followed that I enjoyed.
I liked
quite
that
a bit.
show quite a bit, and I don't know why I fell off, but I really enjoyed it. It was just a fun, charming murder of the week. A fun show.
It was good stuff. Criminal Minds is a favorite of our friend Missy Merchant, I know for a fact. Once Upon a Time is also in the top 20, not one that I watched. 10 years on, NCIS still in the top 20. Still crushing it in number 11. Resurrection, I feel it sounds somewhat-ish familiar, but The Voice was in its 3rd season. Tuesday night show. I've never really watched it, but again, it's another singing show. Scandal was very well-renowned, I think.
Oh, this was the era of like the ABC like strong women shows. So you had like Scandal, you had Alias, you had what were the other shows? The Desperate Housewives,
right.
Grey's Anatomy, everything was on ABC. It was a gangbuster at that time,
right? And How I Met Your Mother final season was also in the top 10. Grey's Anatomy. Speaking of the strong women, this was season 10. This show, my wife still watches it. And I think it's supposed to be winding down, but
left.
Even she's leaving. As I understand
she left.
It.
Yeah.
So Modern Family, which is good
Great
for
show.
giggle here and there. Monday night, The Voice, The Big Bang Theory, which is that show is a mixed bag for a lot of people. I always really enjoyed it. It's a favorite. It's a favorite of my stepmother. She loves it.
They're mocking geek culture. They're mocking. Yeah. I totally
whatever.
Get it. Yeah,
I get it. And this was a surprise to me. Surprise, but not a surprise. Sports ball at Sunday Night Football, #1 program of the year. Probably the Super Bowl, right?
No, I mean, depending on when this was actually taken, Sunday Night Football. I mean, sports are still like the highest ranking things these days, Charlie, because it's live. You have to watch it. You can't DVR it if you don't.
Right.
So sports are going to be that way, just like tonight is Monday night. So we'll have Monday Night Football, and it'll be probably the biggest show on networks
Monday Night Foosball. All right, top new program, Sleepy Hollow, we already talked about. The Leftovers, I feel like I watched a part of it. Well, this actually says 2014. I don't know. I guess it must have come on right at the end of the year.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, I've seen a bit of that one. I had no idea that Robin Williams was on a sitcom in 2013 called The Crazy Ones. Is that was on was that on CBS? Is that what this says? Thursdays on CBS. That's so weird. I had no idea.
Really? Oh, I have no clue about that one. Rain was a show on the CW. It was kind of like they were branching out, doing more of the historical dramas. It was more of like the teen period piece show. We had Hostages, which was one season as well. Dylan McDermott and Toni Collette on that. Let's see.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again. Yep. Yeah. Real Husbands of Hollywood. Don't need to say much more about that. Oh, now here's one that people always told me to watch and never did. American Gods. Why does it say 2017? I think this list is messed up.
It's a little messy, yeah. So then we have The Millers, which, looks like, Will Arnett. So this is a CBS comedy that only lasted 2 years. So obviously didn't watch that. Almost Human, a 1 year series with Carl Urban. I heard this is kind of like a type of show.
My goodness. Brooklyn Nine-Nine came out of this year. I've still never watched the end of it. I'm convinced that I haven't seen the end of that show. Kicking myself. The Originals is something that was a family of power-hungry 1,000-year-old vampires. Well, that just sounds like a good time.
Yep, big CW thing. Yep, absolutely.
Here, a little bit late. Here's Resurrection. The lives of people in Arcadia, Missouri forever change when their deceased loved ones returned. Okay, that sounds depressing. Okay. Again, The Blacklist rounds out the top.
Is that a good
20.
show? I don't know if I ever watched it. I mean, James Spader's such a crazy guy, and it sounded interesting.
Gotcha. And honorable mention at 21, the Michael J. Fox show, comedy inspired by the life of.
Whatsoever.
Exactly. And then and I'm sorry, number 25 is Mom, which was a sitcom that was on for a long time with Allison Janney and Anna Faris. Wow.
The Goldbergs debuted that year too, Charlie.
Oh, geez. How far down was that? My goodness.
That was a big show for us for a time.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah, no, we really did love it. So
I think I was the only one that stuck around for the end.
Oh, is it actually over?
It's over. Oh, yeah. After all the drama and everything, and it definitely, I still enjoyed it, but it had its seams. Well, I would definitely say just finish it out, and definitely ended better than How I Met Your Mother.
Well, hey, if this writer strike or the actor strike goes on much longer, we'll all have a lot of stuff to watch next year.
Exactly.
So you can, listeners, you can go back and use this episode as a guide. So, but anyway, with that is the end of the program. This was a good bit. Let's grab this.
We'll probably do this every year with the year that the year ends in.
This is a little reminiscent of the Time Capsule, which they have over on Planet Broadcasting, but I think that we put our own good spin on it. I like it.
Absolutely.
It's a good pick. But anyway, that's it for us, folks. Todd, where do people find you out there in the world?
They can follow me on Threads at Teoxtra, at Seek Friends Unite with periods in between, and at the X Twitter at Teoxtra, and also check out secretfriendsunite.com for all of our stuff, including our videos and obviously our Patreon.
You better believe it. Well, I'm also found at a lot of those different stuff. I'm trying to dabble a little bit more on Threads, where I'm C3 Carpenter. I am at the C3, still on X until they start charging, in which case you'll see this little bird go fly. Largely, again, the Discord is where things happen for Secret Friends Unite. Lots of fun conversations going on. As I talk about ad nauseum, my wife April and I do run the USS Grand Petoskey, one of the biggest chapters of the International Star Trek Fan Club in the world. We just had a great showing at Grand Rapids Comic-Con here just over the weekend, which is why my voice is so raspy, but we raised a lot of money for charity, which is something that we absolutely love to do. I do also run Region 13 for SFI, which is Michigan and Eastern Canada. So if you're a Trekker within the sound of my voice, please visit our Grand Petoskey website. That's how you can reach me or any of the other ways that I described, and we can make your Trek dreams come true, the non-sexual ones. With that, I'm going to bid you adieu, friends. As always, thank you for coming. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
It takes Captain Tootsie to nab a Nazi.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.